Guys, Asher coming at you today in Raid Shadow Legends. What's going on? Welcome to the video. Glad to have you here talking a little bit of Raid with yours truly today, as with every day here on the channel. So I was pulling some shards. I was on the fence on this fragment summon. On the one hand, fragment summons are historically pretty easy. Like, why not go for it? But then I saw the event calendar and I'm like, I don't know, man. Through the weekend, do I want to be, spending my energy on dragon farming and champion training and 2 summoning events and all this stuff for this cow? I don't know. I was really on the fence, but you know what? I was at the gym earlier today, and I'm like, I'm just gonna open up I think I had like 20 ancient shards. I'm just gonna open them up just to kind of get towards the champion chase a little bit. And wouldn't you know, the very first freaking shard I pulled, it was GREATHOOF. It was the cow.
Just do it! Make your dreams come true!
All right, Clarion, fine. You're forcing my hand here to make a guide in this champion. That's exactly what I'm going to do today. So the last few hours, I've been messing around with her, trying to figure out, okay, is she bad? Is she average? Or is she actually sneaky good? And I've come to my own conclusion, but I want to provide some evidence before we get into that. I actually have a lot of opinions on this champion. First off, Call of the Arbiter series, right? We had Call of the Arbiter, and it was that dwarf there, right? I thought the dwarf was going to be the fusion, not Artak, but I'm not complaining because Artak was really, really good. Excuse me, not fusion. The free champion, the login chase or whatever the heck it's called, right? I thought that was going to be the dwarf. But I think the dwarf is still going to be the champion coming. Man, it would be amazing if we were given 2 free champions, like the login 7-day champions. But I don't know if they're going to do that. The dirtiest move Plarium could do is add another fragment summon or fusion or whatever, but have the rewards tied to the soul stones, that when the new soul stone tournaments go into effect. So we'll be on the lookout for that. Either way, I think it's going to be the dwarf, man. I think that's going to be the champion because we know they've said multiple times there's going to be another champion from the Call of the Arbiter. It's going to be going in the game. Now, the bad news is, guys, is the last 2 champions that we got in this game, fragment summons, I mean, to spoil the end for you guys, they kind of suck, or they're like mediocre to say the best about these champions. So this is GREATHOOF. Jetney the Giant was the other one. Man, I am not a fan of Jetney the Giant. Sometimes you make these guides kind of early on, and then you're surprised by a champion. You're like, okay, you know what? Jetney's not too bad. No. Jetney, I am not a fan of at all. I really dislike that champion. Kind of regret going for her. I guess I don't because it's like kind of my job to do so, but GREATHOOF to me is in a very similar camp, unfortunately, but that's not all bad on this champion. Let's take a quick look to see what the heck she does, right? So Deprive on the A1, attack 1 enemy 2 times, each hit 50% chance of stealing a random buff. Not bad, that's kind of similar to like a Contra A1. On the A2, GREATHOOF Stampede, 3-turn cooldown, attacks all enemies, 100% chance win booked of decreased resistance. Fills this champion turn meter by 10% for each decreased resistance debuff placed by this skill. Okay, not a bad ability. I will say one thing though, the decreased resistance does require accuracy to land. When I see a decreased resistance, it's not bad. 2 turns on a 3-turn cooldown, so I'm not really super complaining about it. But boy, for the only debuff in her kit, granted you do need accuracy here on the A1 too, but I would love to see this ability unable to be resisted, right? Because otherwise, I mean, I don't know, I'm still going to build her with a ton of resistance. Like if I want to use her for Iron Twins, for example, when I need like 500 or 600 resistance, I'm going to have to build her with exactly that much just to place the decreased resistance. So, I don't know, it's a little bit mitigated the usefulness of that A2. However, the turn meter fill is nice, especially when synergized with her passive, which we'll get to in just a moment. Dance of War plays a block debuffs on all allies for 2 turns on a 3-turn cooldown. Pretty good, pretty dependable. I like it. Also fills a turn meter of all allies by 20%. So this Dance of War is actually a really good ability, right? Especially for progression. Block debuffs, 2 on a 3-turn cooldown with the turn meter fill is really, really nice to have, right? On the passive, Hoofbeats fills this champion's turn meter by 5% each time an ally buff is removed, transferred, stolen, or expires. Basically, when a buff is no longer on a champion, she's getting that turn meter fill. And oh man, that is a strong passive. The problem is it's a super strong passive on a average legendary kit, in my opinion, right? Because think about if this champion did something like really good, like really amazing. That would be insane. You're going to see it, right? We're going to do a Hydra run in today's video. Boy, oh boy. If she was doing like a little bit more, she would just be getting, she could take so many turns is what I'm trying to say, right? The turn meter fill here, 10% for each decreased resist, and then it's just constant hoof beat. There's no cooldown here, right? It's just constant. You can see the, you know, the hoof beats passive over her head or whatever, over her body, whatever the heck it is. And it's just, it's constant, right? As long as, the more buffers you have on the team, the better for this champion, because anytime one falls off, she's getting turn meter increase. So she takes a lot of turns. Hence, I threw her in a relentless too, because now, I mean, she's just the absolute Energizer cow bunny. Energizer cow, I would say. She's an Energizer cow. She just keeps going and going and going and going, 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 going. It's crazy. Now, the big downside here, guys, before we move on a little bit, the big downside is for a champion with, thanks to hellhades.com, for a champion with, they give her a 3. More on my opinions here in a moment, but I'm fairly aligned with that ranking. Look at this, a 2.4 strong rating on the multiplier on the A1, a 4.1 on the A2 on a 3-turn cooldown on the AoE. Granted, her base attack is not that high, but it's not that low either, 1123 for a support champion. So I thought to myself, you know what? We'll throw some attack on the banner. We'll throw some crit damage on the amulet. We'll throw some more attack on the ring. We'll throw crit rate on the gauntlets. And we'll try to get some nice damage out of this champion too. Now we're talking, right? And boy, I'm just going to spoil it for you guys. She deals next to no damage. No, we have War Master on her as well. We're talking like a, you know, Duchess level damage. It's really, like, to me, taking that many turns with War Master alone and an AoE, the A1, geez, I thought she would, like, deal something, you know? I was figuring, like, maybe Contra type damage, maybe Archbishop Pinthroid type damage, you know, like a support, but like a nice little sneaky DPS option as well to fill out your team. Nah, she doesn't have that, unfortunately. So what I did was I built her very fast, too, because now she's fast, tons of turns, turn meter fill, some damage. Sign me up, right? 287 is a little bit low on the accuracy. We do have the accuracy masteries, though, to help out there. And everywhere I've used her so far, if I was going for Iron Twins, I would have to bump it up way higher, right? If I was gonna say if I was gonna use her in the arena, she's not good in the arena, guys. Don't use her in the arena, right? You're better off, I mean, the only reason you would ever want to use a champion, like, I'm even talking like early game, right? I mean, a decreased resist, that's not enough. It's just a decreased resist. It's not enough. Just build your debuffer with more accuracy. I think you'll be better off than wasting a whole spot just on that. So, arena, super underwhelming. Here's the masteries that I went with, guys. Again, just went down the left-hand side, went down to War Master, and then on the support tree, I picked up, like, everything, basically. All the accuracy stuff. Most importantly, I would say, these 4 masteries, right? Well, I guess War Master, you know, I'll move out of the way, but you guys can see. So, War Master down the left-hand side. 4 most important masteries in this champion. Rapid response, 30% chance of increasing the turn meter by 10% when a buff cast by this champion is removed or expires. Again, it's all about turn meter with this champion, so the more that we can get, the merrier. And then Arcane Celerity, same thing, but with a debuff, right? I say this, God, I'm going to say it tomorrow's video too, so I apologize for repeating it back-to-back videos. Tomorrow, by the way, oof, my like favorite champion in the game, Spotlight. I'm really happy with that one. Probably gonna be like 10 times better than today's video, so check it out. the debuff, these are 2 really important, I just love them. I love these 2 masteries. Same thing with Cycle of Revenge, these turn meter boosting masteries, provided you're not on a speed tune team, obviously, right? And then we go down, the other 2 important ones are Lasting Gifts, extend the duration of that block debuffs. However, I will say, with her taking so many turns, plus Relentless, she has it up more often than not on the rest of your team, right? And then Master Hexer as well, of course, that decreased resistance. We'd love to extend that so it's up basically all the time or as often as possible. So those are the important masteries on this champion. I did pick up Lore of Steel, although I only have 1 speed set in terms of basic sets on this champion. I have speed on the boots, obviously. I have HP flat stat on the chest, but I did get an HP percentage roll on the Ascension, and it's a triple roll speed. So I'll take it, right? This is why you always roll up your speed gear no matter what. You know, I mean, flat stat, I would never roll it up if it wasn't speed. set, but I did, and it worked out for me, right? So I have speed on the weapon as well. So again, trying to make her fast, and that's it. Right? Just, is there any lore? No, there's no. They should introduce champions, especially fragment summons and fusions, with lore. Why not? Right? I want to hear the backstory of this cow.
I mean, what were you expecting?
What do the other reviews say on this channel? Ooh. Okay. All right, so let me go ahead and I'm going to share all my opinions. I'm going to go to Hydra in a moment, but first I'm going to throw her on a random Doom Tower floor, right? I don't know. I don't want to go too high here. Okay, this is cool. This is the team I was playing around with. So you notice I put her with Seer? That's because every time Seer uses Karma Burn, she's basically going to immediately proc close to an extra turn. Because think about all those buffs we're removing. They're all 5% turn meter boost, right? So she is actually a kind of cool champion to go with Seer. But this is the story of the cow to me, right? You guys can take a look at her in the background here. She is right there. So take a look at all those, all these passive procs, right? Boost turn meter times 1,000,000, right? The only thing is, you know, it's good against bosses, but against waves, I mean, but look at that. I mean, that's crazy. And I put her with a bunch of buffers, so she's just getting constant turn meter. But again, anyway, I digress. Let me get to the point here. She would be the ultimate Seer activator champion because of taking extra turns, especially against bosses, if she brought more buffs to the table, but she only has one, so she's not really, right? She'd be the ultimate debuff kind of table setter if that decreased resistance wasn't resistible. You know, so much easier. A lot of the decreased resistance champions have it unresistible. I would have loved that. It wouldn't have made her like super strong or anything like that. Just a little bit easier to build, especially for people who are going to take or get the most use out of this champion, which are like early to mid game players, right? Before I get to that, third thing, right? Ultimate control champion if she had an AoE on the A1, right? And she wouldn't be broken at all. She wouldn't be as good as Eric's if she had an AoE on the A1, right? So why not give her a little bit more, Plarium, a little bit more, right? If she had an AoE on her A1, she would be great for control because she's taken so many turns. She has that passive in a provoke set, in a stun set. She would be really, really solid there, especially for Hydra Provoker or something like that, right? You can get some nice utility out of her. Again, it really has to do with her passive. So those are all the bad news. Why? Who is she good for? She's good for progression players, right? I'm talking like early to mid game. But the only problem is she worth your books in early to mid game or if you're a free to play player? That's the problem. More on that in a moment. But what is she good at? She keeps block debuffs up almost all the time, right? Because of so much turn meter fill. No, I don't want to climb the whole tower. Easy. You can see, look at that damage, man. Archmage helmet built with no crit rate barely is doing, you know, 40k more damage. Tagore the Reviver is out damaging her by 100,000. Again, no damage from this champion at all, right? We don't need damage from all our support champions, but it would be nice to have on a champion like this, to me. She helps with accuracy requirements because of the decreased resistance, so that's nice to have too for early and mid-game players. And she turn meter boosts your team like crazy, right? A lot of turn meter boosts, which is really nice. Why? Because of that A3 ability, block debuffs and the 20% turn meter, but she gets back to that ability really quickly because of that passive. So it's nice. She kind of keeps the team going a little bit. You know, the cow motor thing that I said earlier, weirdly. If I pull this champion on my mini account, right? My close to semi-sort of free-to-play account, not really. $40 I spent on the account. I don't know. Actually, I do know. I don't think I'd book her. And this champion kind of has to be booked to get her utility.
This is all a moot point.
Huh. A moo point?
It's like a cow's opinion. It's moo.
She's not an arena champion you can just not book and use one skill and be happy with that. You have to book her. And I'm not using that many legendary skill tomes on a free-to-play account or a you know, a very low spending account, an early game account. I'm saving my books for champions like Artak, you know, champions who are really going to make a profound impact on my account. Even so, the Drakes or Visix the Unbowed, like those type of champions that we get for free anyway. I'm not wasting books on this champion. So overall, I hate to say it, only 6 ratings so far on this champion. But I kind of agree. I would say like average to below average overall. I'm really hoping for a much better champion. Anyway, guys, let me do a quick Hydra run for you guys. And let what I'm going to do is I am going to just make the team. I'm going to check in like halfway through the run, and we'll see what we can do. Be right back. All right, guys, just checking in here. Around 102 turns, an easy 1 key, which it ought to be. But how's the cow doing? Well, I'll tell you what, you know, with this many buffs, with obviously 6 champions on the team, she's taking so many turns. You can see that boost turn meter, boost turn meter, boost turn meter, basically constantly throughout the battle, right? Anytime, somebody takes a turn, they're losing some buffs and her turn meter is going up. So I'm very curious to see between, you can see a Relentless proc right there, between the Relentless and between all those extra turns, you know, what she can do. You know, we talked about this already, but one of the values she does have in a Hydra Clan Boss team, and there she goes down. Luckily, we have a Reviver on the team. It's no big deal. But one of the values she does bring to the team is because she's taking so many turns, she's getting that turn meter boost of the entire team quite often there. So that's nice to have as well. And of course, that's not going to show up on the stat sheet at the end of the battle. So take that into consideration, nor will the decreased resistance. So guys, I'll come back at you when this run is over. I just wanted to check in because honestly, I missed you guys. Be right back. All right, guys, team didn't last too much longer there. Of course, I did remove Krisk from the team as a reminder to put her in, and that certainly impacted our survivability. Usually, this team is good for over 200 boss turns easily. So, you know, obviously, we're comparing her to an incredible Void legendary, but just that damage mitigation that we lost there certainly having its impact on the team. Either way, 66 million damage is still very nice. Let's see how she compares with everybody else. Well, not so great in terms of damage, considering I have War Master and her built out with a 100% crit rate, or 99, I think. So really not looking for any damage at all from this champion, even despite those multipliers. Again, they were a 4.1 multiplier, which you'd think, with the attack that we have on her, would result in a little bit better on a 3-turn AoE, but that's just not the case. Sometimes, you know, compare her to like a Contra the Cyclone. Maybe that's an unfair one. Maybe like an Archbishop Pinthroy. Like on this team, for this amount of time, he would be at least double that damage, you know, at least double that damage. So, you know, maybe a bad comparison considering how different their kits are. I'm just trying to compare to other support champions. Certainly nothing in the way of damage from this champ, but, you know, enough to bring to the table to justify use case. We already talked about it here, but TLDR, I think that the cow is good for progression, good for kind of early stage and mid stage Hydra Clan Boss, maybe a little bit beyond that as well, kind of a flex role, but leaves a lot to be desired, guys. I can't wait to see what the other hopefully free champion is. Maybe Fusion, maybe Fragment Summon. The Dwarf is who we think from the Call of the Arbiter is. I thought it was going to be this Fragment Summon, as I mentioned earlier. This is not the case. The cow is pretty underwhelming. I'll tell you what, I probably would have went for her even if I had not pulled her, but I probably would have been pretty disappointed, frankly. Not trash, but not that great. I would say a C-tier legendary champion, guys, and there you have it. Thank you for watching. I was going to say welcome to the video. Welcome to the end of the video, guys. Thank you for watching. Hope you have a lovely day, and as always, take care, guys.